Welcome to 5 Minute Friday, where we share our best tips and tricks to help you get just a little bit better every week. And this week we were talking about Eddie's routine. This is actually a request from somebody on our team, Mr. Lee. He wanted to know routines. He was like, hey, man, just tell us about your routines in the morning. I think some people might get something out of it. And so, Eddie, you're Mr. Habit over here. So how about you? You kick it off this week, and then I'll go next week. How about that?
Okay.
Does that work?
Yeah,
Cool.
he said successful routines.
Successful routines.
So I think we just read into that. We'll do our routines, and it remains to be seen whether those are at all successful. But as for mine,
What's your routine? Successful routine.
successful routine. Yeah, well, I mean, there is something to be said for that. This is my intention, not always my action.
Fair.
But
That is fair.
Presently, the routine I am trying to keep. Alarm goes off at 5:30, and I get out of bed and I go make my coffee because it's important to me.
Yeah.
And you're going to laugh because I'm very formulaic about this, but I do have a very definitive routine, and that I will go and I will drink 2 large cups of water before I have any coffee.
Okay.
I have actually been doing some cold showering in the morning.
Okay.
So that gets me up and awake, and I don't drink my coffee or kind of like get that caffeine reward.
You're doing the
afterwards.
90-minute thing, aren't you?
No.
You're not doing that?
I make everything up as I go, and I'm sure I grab things that I hear and just kind of like subliminally insert them and think that I'm doing a thing that nobody else does, and I'm doing it. But I'm just doing stuff that works right now. So right now it's working for me. So that kind of wakes me up, get cleaned up, get dressed. I usually do lay my clothes out the night before, so I don't have to make a lot of decisions. I usually wear just about the same thing every day, so I don't have to make a lot of decisions because I don't like making a lot of decisions in the morning. After that, I do kind of like my meditation, read, pray.
Yeah.
I've got a little pause app that I've been using. I put the headphones on, noise cancelers, and sit there. That's about 8-9 minutes. Really kind of helps me get still in the morning. So do that, do a little bit of prayer, read my Bible, and then I usually have to wake kids up for school at that point. So if I'm lucky, and we don't have young children anymore, that was more difficult when we did because it was unpredictable when everybody was going to get up. But people wake up a little more predictably now, So usually I have to, make sure everybody's up and get going for getting the older ones off to school. Then I like, doing something for breakfast. That gives me a little time to actually cook something. So I try to cook something for breakfast. I'm having my coffee.
This is an important question.
All pre-work.
Do you make the coffee before, like the night before?
No.
So you make it morning of?
Morning of, but
Okay.
I try to make sure that the coffee pot is always clean. That's something that's kind of
Into the details here.
it's a thing at our house. Like we always try to have the dishwasher run at night.
Oh, yeah.
Always, because
Yes.
that way all the dishes are clean in the morning. The sink, we try to have that at least clean, and the coffee pot clean. That way I'm just putting water in, coffee grounds, and going. It takes me just a couple minutes.
Okay, what's your go-to breakfast? What you were on breakfast before I distracted you here.
Yeah,
so.
go-to breakfast would be like I do an egg quesadilla.
Okay, all right. So are you doing the flipping, like the TikTok thing?
I do like it's basically an omelet.
Yeah, so you put the
So-
egg on the bottom and then you put a tortilla on top?
Yeah.
Yeah, and then you flip the tortilla. Yeah, that's good.
It's good stuff.
Yeah.
So I've been doing that a lot, and plenty of other stuff I like too. And then, so after I get all that done, I'm usually dropping a kid and then headed over here to work. And then at work, I usually get in, I make another pot of coffee here. A lot of times, I do that for me, obviously, but I also try to make a habit of having coffee ready for anybody that comes in.
How often do you swap out your 2 cups of water for 2 cups of coffee? Do you cheat?
Never.
You never cheat on that?
I will say that the 2 cups of water in the morning is the one routine I do not break. I am the most consistent.
What's the cup size here? Is that like 2 small little juice cups, or is that like a full size, like 8 ounce or 12 ounce or whatever?
Full size cup. Yeah.
Full size
2 full size cups. Yeah.
Okay.
And it usually takes me about 5 to 10 minutes to get both of them down.
Okay, so there's a bathroom break in there at some point. But anyway, move on. You're
It's-
going into,
I mean, it's
all right,
like- I don't know how gritty you wanted me to
No,
get
we're
my
not going
morning
that
routine.
gritty. You know, we're going to move on. We're going to move on. You're at work now and you're making coffee.
Yeah, well, and then, you know, you're getting in. I usually try to check our job board and all that.
Yeah.
Make sure. So I'm trying to get my head on where my team's at. So I try to put myself in the shoes of each one of my guys. Like, what are they doing? And might they need me to give them any input? Right now, that doesn't happen a whole lot, where I don't need to input with the guys a whole lot. Everybody is pretty self-sufficient, so that's a pretty quick process. Try to know where I'm at financially, so I try to check in on that.
Yeah.
And then I usually try to define what I want to do with the day, like productively, if I haven't left that for myself from the day before. If I've left a process the night before, I will put a sticky note on my keyboard for the next morning that says, you stopped at drawing P 321. Or start up, I'll say, start with whatever. And that sticky note's sitting on my keyboard so that I immediately pick up into that. I don't really lose time to processing.
That's actually a really good hack.
Yeah.
That's a really good one. I've abandoned that one in recently because I forgot. But
That's when I'm
that's actually a really good one.
mid-process, because sometimes you
Yeah.
have to go home mid-process.
Yeah.
And I want to go home on time.
Yeah.
So work out at lunch. So I work out, then I eat. A lot of times I'm on a smoothie for lunch because we have a Smoothie King next door and I wear it out. And then I try to get out of here at 5. Like I try to be at 5 o'clock, like clockwork, so that I am home. Like I'm with the people I love the most and the people I do this for. So, and then after that, you know, there's nothing routine about, there's like a weekly routine, but that's not what we're really here for.
So
I will say at night, I do try to take a vitamin, a multivitamin, and I do try to.
take your vitamins. Good.
I
Good
do.
boy.
I do.
Are they Flintstone?
They're not Flintstone.
Okay.
They're just a plain.
Yeah, they've got the
old
gummies now
multivitamin.
too.
I
Those
do
are
try to take a
pretty legit.
multivitamin, and here's okay. So everybody's like, "Oh, you know, that's a cool, disciplined process and all," or maybe they're like, "Oh, that guy's full of trash."
How often does this break down? That's what I want to know.
Well, okay, so
That's
I'll say it breaks down in pieces, but
Bring it down to
The
earth.
very, very, very last thing that is just very routine for me, very routine, is I eat a bowl of ice cream almost every night.
Are you serious?
I love. Actually, it's not a bowl. If my wife heard this, she'd be like, "You don't need a bowl of ice cream." I don't. I'm
Eat a carton of ice cream. No.
I usually have a couple of scoops of ice cream and I put it in a cup and I like to pour milk on top of it and kind of mash it up like a milkshake or something. And it's just kind of this weird, quirky thing that I do. And I enjoy that every night. If I'm really like feeling healthy, I'll actually make that
protein powder on it.
I'll make some protein ice cream. I will. And I'll eat that.
I will have you know, everybody that is listening, I have worked with this man for a very, very long time, and I had no freaking idea that that was a part of his nightly routine. This is news to me. Yeah.
it's
Okay.
Pretty much a fail.
I just assumed that you went home and ate celery or something like that. I don't
Pretty
know.
much a fail. Not.
No.
I have ice cream every night.
Now I do know your peanut butter M&Ms. Those
Those are special to me.
are special to you.
And peanut M&Ms. And
Honestly, if I needed to like set up a box with a stick contraption with like a rope to like trap you or something like
put
that,
those under it. And
I would put peanut butter M&Ms
would
leading up
go.
to it, and you'd be like, "Ooh, piece of candy." Ooh,
It'd have to
piece
be
of
a pretty
candy.
big box that I couldn't see, but I would walk under it to get the peanut M&Ms.
Nah, we'll make it work. We'll make it work.
Now, how much does it break down? Like I said, it breaks down in bits and pieces. I don't always wake up at 5:30. I try to get a minimum of 7 hours of sleep a night.
Yeah,
A minimum. That doesn't always work.
I'm a waste at that.
I don't always do that.
Yeah.
7.5 is great. 7 is like functional. 6.5, I start to feel it. 6 is like,
Yeah.
but if I get 6 hours sleep day 2, I'm going to be pretty rough. But I'm like just very routine. I'm not a night owl. I get really grumpy at night. I don't do that thing. So,
that I know. That I know.
yeah, and I mean,
Christy's the night owl
yes,
of your relationship for sure.
for sure. And that's why I have respect for the fact that people's clocks work differently.
Yeah.
And we've learned to function work that way. Works out pretty good. We just kind of respect like when we're functioning well and not dog on that. Like just kind of lean in.
Okay, so last question. What is the most important part? Like what is like it seems like the glasses of water are probably the most important part.
I'd say the glasses of water are
But
like the easiest. Well, maybe the coffee is the easiest. Coffee and ice cream are the easiest thing to do. So
What's the most important? Like, if I miss this, then my day just feels weird. Like, if I miss that, my day feels weird.
Reading.
Okay.
Yeah, if I don't do any reading in the morning, my day feels kind of off and weird.
Interesting. Okay.
Which is usually a chain reaction because like if I don't get in bed the night before and I don't wake up at the time I intended, which isn't always 5:30. Sometimes it's like it's 6. It's usually functioning around kind of what kids' schedules are doing
Yeah.
and school schedules are doing. But like if I don't get in bed, if I don't get my butt in bed the night before to get to sleep, to wake up, then it's a chain reaction. It all falls apart.
Okay.
And I do my best with it. And I try to hold it with open hands. I mean, I'm not one that's like, I don't dog on myself all day if I don't have this like happen 5 days a week. And it doesn't. I mean, straight up, it does not.
So you're not like,
But that's the routine I shoot for.
you're not David Goggins in that. You're
No.
like, yeah.
Not even close. I don't have that guy's discipline by a long shot. No.
Who's gonna carry the boats? And the logs. that guy's at
Picturing
another
David Goggins running on Mars. That's what I see.
level. Yeah.
Elon gets out and David Goggins is already there.
All right, we'll put this one in the show notes. This one makes me
Censored.
Yeah, censored for sure, but this made me giggle more than most things have made me giggle in a very long time. It's David Goggins on Mars. Just Google that, and there's a nice little TikTok for you. Just waiting. You're welcome.
There's a routine that nobody cares about and nobody asks for.
Okay, well, there you go. Thanks for the question, Lee. All right, guys. Well, hey, if you got any more questions or anything like that, make sure you hit us up, 512-THE-BROS. It will take you to our voicemail line. And anything that you got for us. If you got questions about Eddie's weird routine, his ice cream choice, things like that, when he makes time to shave his head, I don't know. We're open.
Every
We're
other
open
Sunday.
books. Oh my God. Of course you had that. All right, guys, go build something awesome.